Welcome to Sean and Carter Have a Podcast. My name is Sean.
And I'm here.
You're present.
I'm here. I'm
You don't
present.
sound
I
like
wasn't.
a girl.
Well, hopefully.
Unless that's just Skype doing that to your voice.
Yeah, I have an audio filter on Skype. It's a little plugin. It changes it. It actually was me last week. It wasn't Alicia. We had there was some technical wizardry.
I was an early adopter of Xbox Live when Xbox Live initially launched, and they had this ridiculous function that let you sound like a variety of different digital enhanced voices that were incredibly annoying. They don't exist anymore, but they can make you sound like a little girl. They can make you sound like Darth Vader, and it was really, really annoying.
Like in game, like when you're
over
talking
your
to
voice
people?
chat to other people.
That's annoying.
I have no idea why would someone think that would be a good idea?
It's this will come up later. It's a little product differentiation that is just actually crappy.
It's a selling point that is actually not a selling point at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Because once you've experienced it, you're like, no.
Can you hear yourself in that voice?
I don't know.
Can't.
Whenever I was experiencing it, it wasn't myself, because I would never do that to other people. I just did things like yell, "Get some!
Get some!"
That was me.
Microsoft fail. The voices on a Mac when it says things are actually very pleasant. They're still mechanical, but they're nice. I like them.
I would agree. I like whenever
Yeah.
they work their way into music, and I'm like, oh, that's totally a Mac voice that is being played in that song.
It's really clever about I don't even know what this is. It's related to the newest XKCD comic, so that will be our comic on kerning. Do you know what kerning is?
I know the word.
The word kerning. Kerning is the amount of space between letters in a word.
Right. That's right. That's why I see it on Photoshop and Premiere.
Yeah. So proportionally spaced fonts, which is basically anything that isn't a computer programmer font. And now the font nerds are all going to get up on arms and tell me that I'm wrong. And I know I'm wrong. I'm making a generalization. Sorry. You know what? Can I just say that a lot of times when I say things that are a little bit wrong, I know that it's wrong. I'm just abbreviating.
I do the same thing. Like when people tell me that I've missed something in a video or whatever, I'm like, no, I did not miss it. I probably saw it when it happened. I definitely saw it when I edited it. And if I didn't see it then, I definitely saw it when I watched it back. I've seen this video more times than you have. I did not miss it.
You've mentioned that multiple times.
People just assume that we don't follow through on the things we say or do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, that turned into a long.
Carter listens to all these podcasts and bashes his head against the wall about the generalizations he makes.
No, that's true. So when the podcast airs, I usually listen to it the same day, which is really bad because I remember everything that I said, and I'm like, oh, that's wrong. And I try to get better. I try to correct myself. Like Ricari, when he was like that, I forget. I made a comic book mistake, and when I said it, I knew
It was a
wrong.
universe mistake. It was like
I think I said Spider-Man
or
was
something.
DC. I think I said Spider-Man was a DC comic, and he's not. And I knew it. I'm like, oh, I own those. But, whatever. So,
Kerning?
Kerning. I don't remember what I was going to say about kerning. What were we talking about?
XKCD?
Yeah, but I was going to talk about kerning. I was going to use it in a different context. But whatever.
Okay, good.
We should tighten things up. Let's just move on.
So follow up. Carter is not Alicia. Just in case you're still confused about what's going on, that's Carter.
I'm Carter. I am me. I equals me. So I have two pieces of follow-up, which hopefully won't take over the podcast. One is my favorite fallacy. So I mentioned to this guy who commented on SCHP26, I believe, that we were talking about Macs and about why they're awesome.
We do that sometimes.
We do that sometimes. Other computers are awesome as well, by the way. I don't want to say that the only good computers are Apple computers. Are just really good. So he commented that, I forget, like a friend of his or a brother or someone's like, he's got a Mac and it breaks all the time, so they're crap. He set up a
Well,
little
that makes sense, right?
yeah, it's a little syllogism, there. It's like this,
It's an observable fact. He's seen it.
yeah, this was crap. When I see something that is crap, that means all of them are crap. Therefore, whatever. It's like yeah, right. Total sense there. Except it's not. It doesn't make any sense. There's a logical fallacy that it's my favorite named logical fallacy. I'd have to think about what my favorite actual logical fallacy is. I incidentally have a minor in logic. uh, but
That doesn't
this
even
fallacy,
sound like a real thing.
Mhm.
That doesn't
You can
sound
get
like a
that.
thing.
You can get that. You can get that.
Okay.
And the particular fallacy that this person engaged in is called the fallacy of the lonely fact. Aw, the loneliest fact.
It's all by itself.
Sitting out there all by its lonesome. It's lonely. It needs a friend. So the technical term is hasty generalization. But I like fallacy of the lonely fact because it just sounds more awesome.
It sounds like an album title.
The fallacy of the lonely fact. Yeah, it sounds like a Modest Mouse album.
Nice.
Do you like Modest Mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like bluegrass?
Not. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it, but I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I discovered yesterday an album of bluegrass covers of Modest Mouse songs, which is unbelievably amazing, and it's called "Pickin' on Modest Mouse."
There's a famous guitarist, Chet something, who famously did a bunch of Beatles songs that way that are they're so cheesy.
These aren't. These are good, man. They're excellent. I'm on
Picking
a Spotify.
on Modest Mouse.
Picking on Modest Mouse. Yeah, I'm in a Spotify collaborative playlist. It's alternative country and folk music. Because I'm the
Because
biggest
that's what
hipster
you're
ever.
into? What?
Well, I am.
How are your girl jeans today?
They are at the dry cleaner.
So the fallacy of the lonely fact.
Is when you observe a single fact or a single case and you generalize it for the global case. So this Macintosh is bad. Therefore, all Macintoshes are bad. Except and the fallacy actually applies for more than just a single lonely fact. You could say A is X, B is X, C is X, D is X. Therefore, all of them are X, right? Every Macintosh I've ever used was bad.
All
so
four
they
of
must all
them.
be bad. All four of them, right? They must all be bad. I could make a hasty generalization as well. I've used two Macintoshes. I've owned two Macintoshes, and they've both been excellent. So maybe
They never make a bad computer.
Exactly. So
They
if
never
I said,
break.
"Hey, they never break. They're never bad. They're always good." That would also be a hasty generalization. And I hope that I have not done that because I do say that Macintoshes are great. I don't think I've ever said all of them are always great for all time.
I think we should start making claims like that.
Yeah, we should just throw them out there. Because Macintosh, there's two things. There's the design, which I think is good. But the design is different from the actual product, which could be bad, Like, it's sort of different from, say, a video game. I think you could say, all Valve video games are great.
Right.
Right.
But you could
All
have one instance of it working on a computer where it's not actually performing the way it's supposed to, and you can't judge it based on that one performance.
Exactly. It's like the 1-star reviews on Amazon where it has nothing to do with the content. It's like, I got this and it was
And my husband asked me for a divorce.
Rush. Have you seen that?
No, but that would be great. There are some weird reviews on there.
There are some weird reviews on there. But yeah, it's the 1-star reviews that, that aren't like, oh, this person is wrong, this book is crappy. It's the Amazon shipped this to me and it was the pages were,
Backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that doesn't tell me a lot about the book or the movie or the whatever. So this person was engaging in the fallacy of the lonely fact. And what I would say is, I actually have some advice. If this person's computer keeps breaking or keeps like not working correctly, go to an Apple store. Have them take
Isn't that what the
computer to an Apple
geniuses
store.
are for?
That's what they're for. They will help you. Even if you're not under warranty, they will help you.
They love taking
And
care of customers.
yeah, and if you're not near an Apple store, you can get in touch with an Apple customer service representative over the phone. Yes, that is a legitimate method of communication today. And they will send, if there's something legitimately wrong with your computer, they will send you a box, and you can put it in the box and you send it to them and they'll fix it. And there are like, instead of just complaining like it breaks all the time, you could just investigate it a little more. It might be something your brother or your friend is doing, or there could be something wrong with that computer and that could be fixed. That turned into longer than I wanted.
Nothing ever goes wrong with Max Carter.
But truth be told, nothing. Never, ever.
They don't get viruses like PCs.
They don't get viruses like PCs. They get viruses like Macs.
They get the other ones.
Get the other kinds of viruses. All right, I had other follow-up, but I'm gonna push it because that took a while.
We have at least one random question from Ron that I wanted to take a look at because I didn't realize something. He wanted to know if you, living in Colorado, had ever gotten to experience Casa Bonita. And I never knew that was a real place. I just thought it was a place that Cartman wanted to go on South Park.
It's a real place.
Does it really have cliff divers?
Does it really have... well, okay, so to answer Ron's question, I have not gone to Casa Bonita.
He says he could live there, so he must like it.
I've heard mixed reviews. So, no, I've never experienced Casa Bonita. There's one in Lakewood, which is far from where I lived in Denver, and I wouldn't want to drive there. If you want to get like really amazing food in Denver and experience like the real Denver, City-O City. That's where you gotta go. City-O City.
What's there?
What's not?
What am I going to experience?
It's pitched as a vegetarian restaurant, but it is incredible, great, sort of like Western style food at an independent Denver restaurant and coffee place, and it's beautiful and cool people go there. And I lived like 4 blocks from it, and I went there all the time when I was out there. I frequently got the breakfast burrito smothered.
Did they call it the Carter by the time you left?
They did not. They did not.
Too bad.
I didn't know what smothered was until I moved out west. We didn't have that in Ohio.
What does that mean exactly?
You put so
you light it on fire and then you put it out?
No, you put salsa, although like every smothered item I got out in Denver it's not like salsa you get at a store. It's like, green with, like tomatillos and stuff.
Oh,
but
right.
Like take sauce and you
Verde
just
sauce.
Yeah, verde sauce, that's it. You just cover whatever you get in that sauce.
Okay.
Just dump sauce on top of it.
Okay. I went to a place like that in San Francisco.
I think it's a thing out west or in the Southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah. We not in the Midwest. We don't do that. Make this food more plain, please. This plain cream cheese is a little too much for me. Can I get just butter on this bagel? Okay. Well, we had another random question from Ron, which was interesting because of the method that he sent it to us.
Yeah, Ron's the king of the voicemail delivered via email.
I didn't know this was a thing. And you did it too. You sent me one.
I think I really like it because I answer and type so much email from my phone that if I can just talk to my phone for a minute and then send it to someone through email, that just seems to make more sense.
Well, why don't you just use the voice recognition?
I don't know if that would work for me.
I hear people like it on those Android phones, but anyway.
I could try it.
you should try it. Report back and see if you like it. So Ron sent us a voicemail-y question, which was it was long. It was longer than this question, but the question was if we got the privilege of being stuck in a video game for our entire lives, what would the video game be and why? Did you think about it?
I definitely I did, and my question is, for our entire lives, what does that mean?
Okay.
Because there are video games that the character never dies.
That's true.
Because you could be stuck in Animal Crossing forever, and there's never any threat to the end of that character's life.
Sure.
So I'm gonna say Animal Crossing. I just want to run errands for all my anthropomorphic animal friends for the rest of my life, the rest of my existence.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he didn't clarify. He leaves them vague so that we can interpret them how we want to.
Or we do anyway.
Or purposefully change them.
So you want to be in Gears of War, right?
Sure. Left 4 Dead.
You'll be Bill.
He didn't specify whether we would just be like us, but in a video game,
or
whether
if we would be a person from the game.
Character in the game. I assume a character in the game, but I don't know. So I thought about it a little bit. It definitely would not be Minecraft. I'll just say that right now. I think it would be Super Mario World.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know the old flat Super Mario World. Because then you're gonna exist in 2 dimensions. Did you ever read A Wrinkle in Time?
I did.
At one point, they appear in a 2-dimensional universe. Do you remember that?
I don't, but I read Flatland, so.
That is about a 2-dimensional universe?
Yeah, did you know Flatland?
No.
I'll send you like the Amazon link. It's a great book.
Okay.
Short little book that I read in geometry class when I was a sophomore. It's like 20 pages. Not 20 pages. 60 pages. It's about a cube or a sphere. It's a sphere, I think, that visits Flatland and has the Flatlanders, who are all these like 2-dimensional shapes, explain to the sphere how Flatland works, like how houses work and how you eat things in Flatland, because all the rules and the law, of that world have to obey, 2-dimensional, whatever. It's a good book.
Good book, I bet.
It's a good book. Anyway.
So if you're in Super Mario World,
I would choose Super Mario World. I think that I'm using the correct name. That's the Super Nintendo version, not the Super Mario Brothers. If Super Mario, I would choose that because I have played that game so many times.
I have too, actually.
I know it so well that I know that I would just own that place.
You know where all the secret item areas are and everything?
Every single one of them, I know. Yeah, absolutely everything. So I think I could eke out a really nice existence in that world.
Yeah. Destroy Bowser Castle at the end.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy.
That part is always easier in the game than like completing everything. You can always like defeat Bowser halfway through the game for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, it's comically easy how you beat him, just stomping on those little things and throwing up in the air. I mean, it's like there's no threat at all, I don't think. I mean, maybe when I was like 6, it was like, this is hard because I don't know how to mash the buttons right, but it's like, I don't think it's hard at all.
I haven't been playing much of Mario in the later iterations. I don't have a Wii anymore.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No, we sold it.
Just wasn't getting enough use out of it?
I don't think we had played it for literally 12 months. It hadn't even been turned on.
Do you have another device to stream Netflix to your TV?
We have the 360.
Oh, you have a 360.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best content delivery service right now.
My best friend out in San Jose has a PS3, and he really likes that. But I've heard that both of them have very like the fans are very loud. Did you find that?
The 360 is definitely louder than I wish it were. I don't have. There is a newer one that I assume is much better. I don't have the new one.
That's the thing that I like my white plastic MacBook. Oh boy, the fan was just like it was like an aircraft.
Well, that must mean every Apple sounds like an aircraft.
I will tell you that older ones do. Most of them do because they get really, really hot. And there is, man, I'm gonna get this wrong. I don't think there's a fan in the new MacBook Pros. There's a heat sink, and it just pushes the heat on into the aluminum, and that just dissipates it through the actual case.
Did you just get that wrong?
I don't know. I don't think there's a fan inside because there's nowhere for the air to go. I think it's just this heatsink thing. I think that's right.
Until someone says otherwise.
God, I should have looked that up. I mean, and I'm supposed to know. I'm supposed to be the one calling people out on that. Sorry if I'm wrong on that, guys. So
what's on the slate?
We're going to talk about Captain America, even though, you and Alicia talked about it a little bit. Because,
we deliberately talked about it a little bit.
A little bit. Well, you covered the most important parts of the
That Hugo Weaving's accent wasn't great?
I'm going to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about that. I have an opinion about that I think Alicia she won't like.
Okay.
She'll say that I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter because she doesn't listen to the podcast. So.
I wasn't going to say that.
You can just tell her what I said.
Carter says you're wrong.
And also, belated happy birthday. I am also turning 25 this year.
You youngins.
Anyway, yeah. We're going to talk about that, but I wanted to mention we don't really have any main topics this week, other than 5 minutes of Super Bowl advertisement, because that happened.
You want to talk about like one of those baby E-Trade ads or something?
Yeah. Have you noticed that? I feel like Jerry Seinfeld right now because everyone mentions this, but it's true that Super Bowl advertisements aren't really good. That people like, oh, I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl, watch the ads, and every year they're like, that wasn't really pleasant.
I've just deliberately started avoiding the whole mess of things. If like when I featured the Matthew Broderick thing, that was mostly just because like that's something in entertainment, like the crossover, like that's a movie turned into a Super Bowl ad. That's interesting. But
I really like that.
But like all the other stuff, like people keep asking me like, "Oh, did you see the ad that was?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't care."
The only ads I liked were the Matthew Broderick one and then the Jerry Seinfeld one, and I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I've only seen that. Sean and I mentioned this off the air because it's on YouTube everywhere.
Yeah, it plays on YouTube before all my videos.
I've watched that. Like all the way through multiple times. It's a minute and a half. Watching a video that I wanted to watch. I find that the content of that advertisement has been better than videos on YouTube that I've watched that follow that advertisement.
Well, I hope so. It's Jerry Seinfeld.
I own all the characters. He's great. He's so funny.
And he can do it without Larry David, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, it's not an E-Trade baby or Jerry Seinfeld.
It's not. Plus one on the Matthew Broderick and Jerry Seinfeld. Now, I want to talk about the Samsung Galaxy Note ad. Oh, boy.
What's wrong with a 5-inch phone ablet device, Carter?
Phone ablet.
I like that. Phone ablet.
Phone ablet?
Can I copyright that right now?
Trademark, yeah. You can get into a patent war with Apple and
Okay,
Samsung.
well, let it be known, February 11th, 2012, Sean V. Martin created the term phonabulate.
Phonabulate. So Samsung has been doing these ads, which for a little while now, they've had several versions of them where it's like a group of hipster-looking people standing out in front of what is clearly supposed to be...
Including that one guy from My Name is Earl, who was consistently my favorite character. It makes me sad that he's involved with this.
That was a great show.
It was a good show.
It was a very good show. Very underrated. And they're all just sort of standing in line and like complaining. I've never seen
They're clearly waiting for an Apple store to open.
exactly. I've waited in a line at an Apple store once, and it was the day that the iPhone 4S came out. And the reason I had to wait at the door wasn't because like Apple stores are mean. It was because the police officers were there and said this store is at capacity, and we are enforcing the fire code, and we're also here to make sure people don't steal all of these things.
So where were the police in this commercial?
Yeah, exactly.
They were dancing in the background later.
Yeah. So yeah, Samsung's been doing these commercials, and they're all about like, hey, our awesome Wizzy phone. And someone in the line notices it, and they're like, that phone's so cool. It can do all these things that my phone can't, like be big and whatever. I don't know what.
And have a stylus that you can lose.
Exactly. So this one, I thought that those were fine. They were just poking fun at Apple, and I don't want to say that they're desperate, but you know, they're trying to differentiate their brand, and they're trying to like, you know, they're calling me a fanboy, and they're trying to like let their consumers feel like smart, you know, or like don't be a sheep.
Right.
Don't be sheep.
They have to point to Apple because there's no one else to point to who can fulfill that position.
Exactly. So whatever, that's fine. I think it's a legitimate advertising strategy. I prefer Apple's strategy of saying the things that the device does,
Right?
And how it's good, better. So I like that way.
Other companies do that too, but Samsung's not doing that this time.
Samsung doesn't do that. Yeah, exactly. Actually, from the Super Bowl last year, there was another one of these sheeple ads. I don't know who did it. It might have been Samsung. It was Samsung. It was for the Galaxy Tab, their tablet offering. By the way, anyone have a Galaxy Tab?
It's doing real well, I heard.
Crickets. And that one had a bunch of like, you don't need to be like those people, and it was literally, I think, sheep holding things that looked like iPads, like walking off a cliff. Whatever. So they jumped the shark on this one. It was a 1.5-minute ad. It's a $5 million ad.
It looked like it.
$5 million ad. Well, $5 million just to purchase the airtime. And they're doing this thing again. It's like, I'm waiting outside the Apple store. Nah, I'm a hipster. My phone is so tiny. and it fits in my hand so comfortably. And then someone's holding this Galaxy Note, which is literally 5 inches. It is the size of a paperback book. It is actually, I believe it is the dimensions of a Nintendo DS. And it's supposed to be a phone, which I think is crazy. And they're like, what do you have there? It's so amazing. And they're following the same line of thinking. And the guy's like, oh, here, take a look at my phone. I'm in Google Maps. And there's like handwriting on it. And they're like, one of the guys looks at it and says, it's got a pen?
That's exciting.
Yeah.
This is a major development in the... Oh, wait. Didn't we already do this like 20 years ago?
Yeah. And also, something that I think is fun is that they then go to... Everyone gets Galaxy Notes and are happy and having fun with their Galaxy Notes, and then they go to a dance musical number set to the song, I Believe in a Thing Called Love by the band The Darkness, which came out in 2003, which is where I think their heads are right now.
Oh, man.
It is a 10-year-old song for a 20-year-old technology. Why do they think that advertising that it has a stylus would be
a selling point?
Yeah, and you know what else I'm noticing now? They only showed like handwriting like once, and it was on a Google map, just like circling something. It's like, is that what people are really like, you know? Ooh,
that's exciting. I can't wait to scribble on my maps.
Yeah, I can't wait to write driving directions. I just think it was silly, and it was a 1.5 minutes, and it was this big musical number, and it's sort of like, what am I thinking of? Kind of like an infomercial, where you see something that no one would really want, but there are actors in it who have to pretend like it's so cool.
So you're just seeing right through the sales pitch?
Yeah, I think the advertisement itself is. And a successful advertisement should be transparent. You know, it should be. It doesn't feel like advertisement. It's like, oh, I learned.
Like that Jerry Seinfeld commercial.
Exactly. Through whatever means, it's like, yeah, we're just doing something funny and our brand is attached to it. Apple does these things where it's like, here are all these like cool apps that you can use on our phone that you might not know about that make it really cool. And you're like, oh, that's cool. I like that. This was just like everyone having fun with this 5 by 6 foot giant phone that they're lugging around.
It's like the 2001 obelisk.
It is like that.
It's my new Samsung obelisk, guys.
So Apple did the last Apple Super Bowl ad was in 2007, and it was for the iPhone. And they have not purchased an ad in the Super Bowl since because they haven't needed to.
Because why?
Because
why would they throw their money away?
The ad was a 30-second spot, and it had no opening. It is just about 25 seconds of people from famous movies saying hello, and then a white Apple screen. I think it's got an iPhone, the original iPhone on it, saying, it's not Apple reinvents the phone. It was their other copy on that, just like the most exciting innovation in phones in the history of phones coming this July. Hello, and that's just the iPhone and the word hello and the Apple logo. That's it.
Compelling. Simple.
Right? I think so, at least. Or the most famous advertisement in the history of television advertisements is the Apple 1984 ad. Ridley Scott
was that a Super Bowl ad?
It was a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
ad.
I remember.
They aired it once, only once, and that is to this day. I would not defy, but I would challenge someone to honestly think of a commercial that is better, more remembered, had a bigger impact in the world than that Ridley Scott ad.
I bet that was the last one that Don Draper pitched.
Maybe we'll see.
Before he died from lung cancer.
Or liver failure.
Right. Probably both.
With a number of sexually transmitted diseases.
We're talking about a Mad Men character, in case you're uninitiated.
Exactly. It makes me think of that Simpsons episode where Monty Burns is diagnosed. He's got like basically every disease in the world, but he's not.
They're keeping him in balance.
Yeah, the doctor describes it like it's like every disease is trying to get to the door. They all just slam together in the door and they can't get through. Okay.
So I did see one good Super Bowl ad that I liked. That it follows your philosophy of just talking about the product. There's a Time Warner ad that was every bit as expensive, I'm sure, because I think it was a minute long, and the actual stuff in it is insane. I think it's the first ad that Ricky Gervais has ever really done. And he's just sitting in a cafe on his phone. He's like, no, I won't accept your Facebook friend request. I don't know who you are. And then this hand grenade lands in front of him on the table. And he's like, oh, a hand grenade. Oh, a hand grenade. And he like jumps and starts running. And then the narrator comes in and talks about all the great things that you can experience through Time Warner Cable. So there are like motorcycle races and tanks, and there's a zombie infestation. Mary Louise Parker shows up with a marijuana plant, and then in front of them all, Ricky is running, tapping on his phone like, "I was kidding. I'll accept your friend request." And that's the end of the ad. And it was pretty funny and effective. And I was like, I probably don't like Time Warner for everything that they stand for, but that was a good ad.
Agreed. I'll have to check that out.
That was pretty funny.
When we're done. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Well, the rest of this is all going to be Captain America, but we're going to do this. I'll remind Sean. Next week we're going to talk about a 3-part YouTube, actually 4-part. It started on an Explosion Wednesday normal video, a 3-part Wheezy Waiter video thing.
Yeah.
That people should watch before. Because we'll spoil the whole thing.
Well, it will be included in the link dump for this episode, but we won't talk about it till next week.
Yeah, we're not talking about it till next week. We'll talk about it next week. So make sure you watch those. It's gonna be fun.
That Craig Benzine, man.
Oh man, his videos lately have been just unbelievably good. unbelievably good. And what drives me nuts is that his videos are getting, like 70, 80,000 hits. Uh and like Toby Turner does just like 5 minutes like talking at his iPhone and it gets like 150,000.
Hello, audience.
Audience. And he's just like, I'm driving in my car and like
Well, I
I'm
gotta
stuck.
give it to him. He is engaging.
He's very engaging. That is a cult of personality thing. Like you just have to like listening to that person,
Yeah.
you know?
But Craig, Wheezy Waiter, he's got he's got creativity oozing out of him. It's insane.
Oozing out of him like every week.
If I don't mention it enough times, he's the reason I'm making videos.
Yeah.
No, people seem to think that I'm like really into video game videos, and like I actually just got a unsolicited partnership application that was like, drop your YouTube partnership and come over to this video game, whatever. And I'm like, guys, that is not even close to being my main focus. I make some video game videos, but that's not what I am.
Yeah.
YouTuber
I mean,
first.
well, video games, it's sort of like Facebook. For YouTube, it's easy to make a video game video, so you can make them. So there are a lot of them.
Right.
It's sort of like how Facebook, it used to be really hard to like share your videos, share your photos with your friends. You had to like make a website. You had to have like a .mac website, or this would be like before Flickr. You'd have to find a way to get them online. It was hard,
And then get people to go there.
to go there and to see it, and it's like that was difficult. Like that's tough. Facebook comes around and it's just like, no, just like push this
Now
button.
you
and
can't
photos
avoid them
appear.
if you want to.
Exactly. So
Like,
so
oh,
now,
look, Sally just posted more pictures of her dog.
exactly. So that made photo sharing really easy, and then as markets do, it's like, people like to share photos easily. Let's compete in that market, and then you get things that are much better than Facebook and much more amazing, like Instagram, which I don't really use, but I think people really, really like, and Flickr.
And everything else that put Kodak out of business.
Yeah, Kodak's not doing digital cameras anymore. Did you see that?
Are they going to do anything anymore?
They're not going to do digital cameras anymore. They're going to do cameras.
Okay.
And Kodak does.
They're probably wise
35
not to compete.
millimeter. Yeah, I think so. They do 35 millimeter, I think, right? They do like film stock,
Yeah.
which is expensive, and like that's probably where
At
they
least
get
right
them.
now they do. How much longer is that going to be?
Well, yeah, digital, all that.
It seems like most directors are fine with. It seems like once they work with digital, they're convinced that it's fine, that they're not losing anything.
That's a big reason why I want to see The Hobbit, even though I'm not interested in the movie itself, is that it is, I believe, the first wall-to-wall digital everything, and it's going to be not at 24 frames per second. Is that the...
I
You're a
think
film
so.
guy.
I think
It's not going to be at 24 frames per second. It's going to be at like 42, and it's going to look really different. And it's going to look weird. It's going to look like a soap opera.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because digital films now get like altered so that they look like 24 frames, so that they look like 35 millimeters. Because
Wow,
that's what
I didn't know that
audiences
at
are used
all.
to. And like also on like HD TVs, if you're not watching like a Blu-ray that it was digitally enhanced and has more than 24 frames per second, they all have different means of like altering the frame rate so that it looks like it's 24 frames per second.
I've seen. I was at my grandmother's house, and of course, like every grandmother, she has no idea what's going on with her TV, and I noticed that everything about. I think we were watching Toy Story 3. It was on. It was just playing on a channel, and I was like, "Why does this look so weird?" Like, just something about the motion was really throwing me off, and I was like, "Is no one else seeing this? Like, does no one else see that something looks weird?" And I went in the settings, and they had something turned on that was doing the opposite of what you're talking about. It was like actually smoothing the frames and trying to make it look better, and it was making it look like a Spanish soap opera to me.
That's the thing, man.
And I don't know how I feel about it.
So
It's
you
uncanny.
mentioned a long time ago that you saw this was like in one of our very first podcasts. I don't know how I remember this, but you mentioned that you saw Harry Potter 7-2 in 4K.
Yes.
And it wasn't smooth like that, but you noticed that like camera pans just like they didn't blur.
No motion blur. Right.
No motion blur. It's going to be much more than that with these films that are like up like more frames per second. Um, it's going to be very weird for a while, and like maybe
Until
our
we all
children will be
adjust.
used to it. Yeah, like our children will be used to it, but there's no reason why 24 frames. There's no like I don't know of any reason why 24 frames per second is like better. You know, it just is like that's what they could do.
Right.
But it's you get that feeling like if you saw Star Wars in more than 24 frames per second, it would be bad. You know?
Something would be ruined.
It would, yeah. Did you see that George Lucas penned a little article that said, like, why are people so upset whenever I change something in Star Wars? You're all stupid.
No, I didn't, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I'll send it to you. Okay, let's talk about a specific movie instead of movies generally. Let's talk about Captain America.
Okay.
What'd you think?
Captain America. Once I said to Alicia, once I got over the tiny photoshopped, as you called it, Chris Evans, I thought it was not only one of the better of these films, but probably the best use of one of the licenses, because it really went back to World War II, where most of these heroes originated from.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll say that it's my favorite. No. Back. It's the best. I think it's objectively the best. It's not my favorite.
Ooh-wee, the best.
I think it's the best of the 5 that have been out. Most compelling plot, best acted.
There were good performances in here.
Yeah, excellent performances. It's so strange that they have Chris Evans because he's such a like good guy, all American, and then in the previous superhero film he's like a jerk. As the Flash, Flame, whatever the Fantastic Four.
The Thing, the Fire,
Flamer, whatever.
Flame on. I've never seen those movies.
But he's a jerk in those. He's like a womanizer and, you know, like party frat guy.
Well, look at him.
When he's normal and not all weird.
Right.
They used 2 different effects to do that.
They used a bunch. I think they actually used like 5.
Yeah, like when I was reading on it, there was like, yeah, they did a lot of stuff to make him look different. But there was like sort of 2 classes. One is like digital things to make him look smaller, and the other is a body double, and they just put his head on.
Right.
And I think, I don't know, I could be wrong. There were times when it was really noticeably like bad, I thought. The one where I was like, I didn't take any notes on this movie because I was just like, I just want to watch it. Where it stood out to me, where it was like, ooh, it looks like his head is way too big for his body. It looks like it's just photoshopped on, was when they were at like the World Expo and he went to the recruiting thing, and there was a scene in the hallway between him and his buddy, and it just looked like his head was kind of like floating a little.
The one that Stanley Tucci was overhearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was super, super noticeable to me that I was like, you are not the correct size at all.
Yeah, it was definitely obvious that some shots were better than others. And since his body had to look so different, it wasn't like they could use like forced perspective or anything. They really had to change everything about the shot.
Yeah. If it was fine, I was happy when he
What
was
else
not.
were they going to do? I mean...
Well, yeah, I mean, you know.
Unless they had him played by a completely different actor, which would have just been even weirder, that was what they were stuck with.
Right. I thought about that too. I'm like, yeah, they could have gotten, you know, Tobey Maguire.
I thought the thing that struck me as weird as soon as I saw and experienced him was that his voice did not match his body. Because he's got such a deep voice, and he had that tiny little body, and until he became a big man, I was like, why didn't they just speed up his voice just a tiny little bit to make the pitch higher?
There was just something wrong. It was probably lots of little things. Like, his head was too big, his voice was too deep, you know, everything.
The director of this movie is Joe Johnston, who has worked on strange variety of films. Like, I never would have put together that this same guy did all of these things. He did Hidalgo, Jurassic Park 3, I'm working backwards, October Sky, Jumanji, The Rocketeer, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then before that, he worked on special effects for all of the Indiana Jones movies and the original Star Wars trilogy.
That is fascinating.
Isn't that crazy?
That is really, really... Wow. He directed Jumanji?
Yep.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too, for so many reasons.
Jumanji. That's such a good movie.
David Allen Greer is hysterical. Okay, anyway, we're off topic.
We'll do that sometime. We'll do Robin Williams movies.
Oh, we should. We could really run the gamut on him. We could do, like, super sad and super funny.
And super bad, like
And
Patch
super
Adams.
bad. Oh, man.
Patch
Death to
Adams and
Smoochie?
Jack. God, he did some really turd movies. Oh, the one where with him and with the kids in the RV. Is it called RV?
RV. I didn't even... I never saw it. No desire.
Aladdin.
One of the best animated Disney movies in my life.
Maybe we should do a Disney. God, rein it in, guys.
We're derailing.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I know.
He's obviously a very visual director, and I know that sounds stupid.
Well, he
but, like,
came from a history of visual
yes.
effects, yeah.
But like directors don't just do, they're basically like the manager of the movie. They don't just do the camera stuff. In fact, they don't do the camera stuff. So
Unless they're like Quentin Tarantino or some other pretentious director.
yeah, I think that Peter Jackson occasionally does, a little bit of
Grabs that camera out of the operator's hands.
occasionally, but it's rare. It was I really liked the grainy 1940s effect that they did to make it, like sometimes I think that that's either pretentious or just doesn't come off very well. What I'm thinking of specifically is Sky Captain.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. Where I thought it was like, nah, that's lame.
It was super stylized.
Yeah, that's right. This didn't come off as stylized. It was just I think it just added a nice richness to the movie.
It evoked the 1940s feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Casablanca or something. Kind of like a fuzzy background a lot of the time, muted colors.
Yeah, they really nailed the 1940s. Like, I don't know the characters' names. The girl, Agent Carter. She's got my name. How can I forget that?
That's right.
Agent Carter. Her hair is so 1940s Hepburn hair. It's like unreal.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you nailed it. That's right.
So, do you want to defend your accent position here? Because we got Stanley Tucci, Hugo Weaving. Who else was doing accents? Anyone noticeable?
Right. Sure. Oh, whatever. I don't know. Hugo Weaving's assistant he's British.
Yes.
He is one of the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spies. He's one of those 4 in Tinker Tailor Soldier.
Oh, okay. He played in that other Truman Capote movie that was not Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that happened.
That was what I recognized him from.
Yeah, I recognized him from Tinker Tailor. I just saw it. So Alicia's point, and you can correct me if you think I'm mischaracterizing it, is that people basically shouldn't do an accent if it's not their native accent. Is that fair?
Pretty much, apparently. I mean, I don't agree with her on this, but she really thinks that when actors are doing accents in movies that are not their own, it seems to really take her out of the movie. She's distracted by it.
Okay. I think that what she should say is that actors who are doing bad accents should not do them because it's distracting. But I don't think it's fair to say that you can't do accents. And here's where I'm gonna give some examples. We're big Christopher Nolan fans.
Mm-hmm.
Batman is played by an English actor.
And, well, that's probably a bad example because everyone complains about his Batman voice.
But that's not because his Batman voice is not, like, he's done other American Psycho.
Okay.
He has an American accent.
Yes.
His Batman voice is like he came up with like a Batman voice, which is
Joker!
also identical to Clint Eastwood's voice in the Halftime in America ad. But like there are so many British actors who have American accents in movies. I think it's unreasonable to say that they can't do that.
And not only that, but they're pretty. As an American, they're pretty stunningly good.
Sure. Or like they even poked fun at this. Charlize Theron having a British accent in Arrested Development.
Right.
Like I don't find that distracting. Because they were successful. So yeah, there should just be better accent coaches. I remember I did like improv. I did theater and stuff, and I did improv when I was in high school. And my coach, when I was working on a British accent, they tell you to either do this literally or pretend like it. Put marbles in your mouth to make to learn how to do a British accent.
I'll have to tell that to all my British friends on YouTube.
Yeah, like you have to figure out how to talk like marbles in the mouth, and then you'll eventually start getting the like wider vowel sounds.
You're stretching out the vowel sounds by putting things in your mouth.
Yep,
that's funny.
Literally, and it works, but it's kind of silly. So this was a great movie, and I wanted to point out something, the only complaint I had, which no one else will ever have, and then we can talk about the movie. Okay,
Probably.
Okay. So my complaint is very specific. It's because of my background. Is that after Steve Rogers gets the injections and the Stark patented Vita Ray treatment or whatever it was, he immediately was able to use his body 100%, like he'd had it his entire life.
Well,
that is not
science that we don't understand might look like magic, Carter.
I'm gonna call foul.
Shenanigans.
I'm gonna call shenanigans on that one. The example that I came up with is for you, Sean. I thought of you.
That one time that I accidentally beefed up my body?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Remember that? You, I would say, are an expert video editor, or you a very good video editor. Yes?
Sure, I'll take it.
Okay. We'll call you an expert. And what software do you use to edit videos?
Adobe Premiere.
Adobe Premiere, okay. So, but you're an expert at editing videos generally. You know how to how to do like crossfades and I don't know all this stuff, but like you're good at it.
I want you to talk about it. I want to see how far you get.
I don't, not very far. you know what good editing is, and you can do it. You also have Adobe Premiere, and that's how you do it. So if I sat you down in front of Avid, which is way hugely more stuff, and it is like some people, there might be a debate between like Avid and Final Cut, but it's like the stuff that you use to make movies.
Right.
Could you use Avid like right there, crackerjack, like you're making Avid movies now?
I doubt it.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have to learn how to use it again, even though you know how to do video editing. He would need to learn how to. There should have been an entire like montage of him learning how to walk again, because he wouldn't know how to use his body.
Do you really want to watch that montage?
I don't.
There is a montage exactly like that in The Matrix, and that's actually that's the down point of the whole movie. Like they build up to this point, then they enter the valley for the like Neo needs to learn how to use everything and adjust to the real world, and then they go back up again. This movie, right, I don't think could have afforded that.
That's true. I didn't think about The Matrix. And actually in The Matrix, it's two things, right? He has to learn how to use his physical body, and then he has to learn how to actually use the Matrix. Like when you encounter there's a concept in philosophy and in cognitive science called the embodied mind. It's like your mind is not just like the stuff in your head. It's like how you use your entire body and you interact with the world. Mm-hmm. Like if you suddenly gave me, if you suddenly made me have like really heavy arms, I wouldn't be very successful at like doing the things I normally did, like in the past. Like if I lifted up a computer, I'd be like, oh, I can't lift it up because I don't know how much pressure I need to apply to like my whatever. So they glossed over that, and that was the shenanigans that I wanted to call, because it wasn't just that he was like, I'm walking. It was like, I'm running.
Yeah,
and, like,
he was chasing a guy down who was driving a car.
exactly. He was like really successfully using his body, like doing things, not just stuff that he did normally, like walking and using his arms, but like stuff he'd never done before.
It's a comic book, and there's that amount of plausible unbelievability.
I guess. Tony Stark had to kind of learn how to use his suit.
Yeah, and they showed that learning curve they got to use as a comic relief segment.
Sure. Exactly.
This would not have been funny.
Exactly, and that's why I'm the only one who makes the point, and it's silly, and we're going to talk about the rest of the movie and how awesome it is, and how Hugo Weaving's face looks very strange when he's not the red. Oh, boy, I don't know his name. What is
Skull.
Red Skull. I'm like, Red Scar, Red Face.
Yeah, his face looked like all puffy, and the hair that I don't know, did they put a wig over his real hair? Like, it looked fake.
I think so, and I think you're right. I noticed that too. And there are several scenes where he's at like a 3/4 profile, and you can see like a little black seam going down his neck, where it's like I'm like, what is that?
I'd already seen a photo somewhere of what he looked like.
I hadn't seen it.
And so I was just waiting to get to that point, but I was like, it's tremendous that they made his real face look so fake.
I tried to look up online before, like, did they do something to Hugo Weaving to make him look weird? And I couldn't find anything, but they did. I mean, they looked different.
Just some kind of makeup application, I'm sure.
Yeah. And they nailed Red Skull, the prosthesis and the CGI. He looked great.
Yeah, he looked perfect. His missing nose and everything.
Yeah, I was like,
I wonder if they had the Voldemort team working on that.
Maybe. Yeah, that was excellent. And I liked there's a little throwaway line at the beginning when they were in Norway that, and they mentioned that there's Teutonic legend and myth and whatever, but they mentioned specifically that whatever he had was from Odin.
Oh, right.
It was the jewel of Odin's.
Another one of those artifacts that should probably be locked away in a throne room somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And that's supposed to be like Stark technology, right? Like arc reactor stuff.
I guess so. I don't know how much of it they're trying to tie together.
I don't know, because Howard Stark, and they also didn't mention anything about like specifically about this shield other than like, oh yeah, it's super cool. The whole like finding a new element, and it's like whatever, like Tony Stark and Howard Stark.
Right.
I don't.
Howard Stark had a huge part in this movie. I didn't realize he was going to at all.
He did, and you can really tell that the actor Dominic Cooper, that he really, really studied Roger Sterling. What's his name? The guy who played Howard Stark in in Iron Man 2.
Why can I never think of his name either?
It's Roger from Mad Men. I can't think of his name. Don't know. My mom would know because she's got a super crush on that guy.
He's a nice looking man.
He sounds just dead on, and he really does. I think look like from what they did with Howard Stark in Iron Man 2. He looks like a younger version of him.
Yeah,
really well casted. He really well acted.
I liked that he got to fly like a super fortress, and like he's clearly Tony Stark is clearly his father's son.
Oh, totally.
He did not get to experience all this crazy stuff that his dad was involved with, but he's doing the exact same thing himself.
Exactly. I mean, he hits on Agent Carter.
That's right.
What does he say? You want some fondue?
That's right. He doesn't understand. Is he the one who doesn't know what fondue is?
No, Steve isn't.
Okay.
He doesn't know what fondue is. They make a joke of that later, but I don't remember what the joke is. Fill in your own joke here, audience. Yeah, and then I did not know anything about this movie. And when I saw Tommy Lee Jones, I'm like, win. You just won this movie for me.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in it either.
I'm like, yes, Tommy Lee Jones is a colonel in this movie. That's excellent.
He should play a colonel in every movie.
He's great. I love that line. It's actually a really great moment when he throws the dummy grenade and everyone runs and Steve jumps on it.
Yep.
And Steve says, "Is this a test?" And there's like a little telling moment between him and Carter, and he says, "He's still tiny."
But yes, it was a test.
But yeah, that's a test.
I didn't know anything about the movie, and I did not know anything about Captain America really. And there is a tremendous article on Wikipedia specifically devoted to Captain America's shield, not him, that is very interesting.
I've not read it, but I would assume that, like many things in the Marvel universe or in comic books generally, that many people have had the shield, or there are many different versions of the shield, like in the different universes.
Not only that, but it is an alloy of what they mentioned in the movie, which was called vibranium, which is just something that I guess Stark is playing around with. Vibranium and it's adamantium from X-Men. The same stuff that Wolverine's his new skeleton is made out of. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting.
Interesting. Well, it takes a beating. I really shouldn't push too hard on this. How'd they have the shield in Iron Man 2?
I don't know yet. I really don't know.
Is the timeline like not synced up? Did they find him like what's going on there?
I really don't know. It seems like they got to go somewhere with that, or else they wouldn't have bothered.
I agree.
Agent Coulson was the one who pointed out, like, do you know what this is?
Yeah, maybe they have multiple. Well, they said that they use all of the vibranium in the world to make that shield. Like,
right.
There's no more left,
or none that they know of.
Yeah. Also, why was Nick Fury not in the past? I thought that he was old.
He is, and as far as the official canon is concerned, he should be there because he actually would have been involved with Howard Stark. I'm not sure why they didn't. I guess they just didn't want to confuse people.
I think that was the right move because I was confused already when you're like, no, he's in World War II too, and he just had whatever.
Actually, not only that, but his Captain America's squad, who he has with him, is actually Nick Fury's squad, which was called something like the Howling Commandos. I got it.
Howling Commandos.
Nick Fury's original squad in the World War II comics that were published, I think, in the 50s or maybe 60s. He had a squad, and the characters that were in the movie were his squad.
A little crossover there. I'm sure the fans appreciate it.
Yeah, they wanted to give him a bone to chew.
One of the the guy on the squad with the huge mustache. That's Neil McDonough, who is in a lot of movies, and I really like. And I thought he was really great.
He's in Band of Brothers, isn't he?
I think so. He was in Minority Report. He was the other agent in Minority Report, and he was in I don't know. He's lots of stuff.
He's been in a couple Star Treks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like you said, he's been in a little bit of everything.
He's been a lot. He's done TV. He's just like he's a good character actor, and I always like him. So anyway, off of that, I really love how they handled the origin story of Captain America. That, he's this weak good guy who stands up to bullies, and then he's now strong, but they're like, yeah, we're not gonna, you're gonna sell war bonds,
right
with these ladies, right? And that he kind of has to take the onus of he has to
do it for himself. Yeah,
he has to bring the war to him, so to speak, on those USO tours, and I just think that's it's illustrative in his character development that he, they weren't just like, yeah, go get him, son. It was like, we still don't know about you. You're gonna sell war bonds.
You're gonna mock punch out Hitler every night.
I've punched him out hundreds of times. It was excellent. A
little bit of Joss Whedon rewrite, although it's not clear how much he may have done. I think maybe it's Iron Man. I'm thinking of one of the movies. He directed the final scene. Oh no, it was Thor. I'm sorry, it was Thor. He directed the final scene.
Can we talk about the post credits
Yeah.
real quick? Um, so whatever. So Steve Rogers is boxing, or he talks to Nick Fury. That's fine. Is it just me, or is the little Avengers like coming next year? I thought it was really lame.
It was pretty cheesy, and I had no idea that they had that much footage shot when this film was completed.
Right. Well, now I can see why people said, oh yeah, Loki's going to be in it because there's a shot of him.
Right, right.
Yeah, there is a lot of footage, and I gotta say, nothing really like. If you showed me that, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm really interested in the Avengers.
It's very clear that they're pulling out. First of all, they're probably trying not to show that much. They're probably only pulling from 2 or 3 sequences, and then they're also not showing you any of the stuff that we will find interesting. They're just showing you like, here's a road exploding. Here's all of the characters back to back looking out on hordes of enemies. Like, it's not. You could pull all that exact same stuff out of Serenity, the movie that ends the Firefly sequence, but it would give you no indication of what the movie is actually like.
Sure, I agree. I don't know why they did that. I bet that was
Because their fans are 14-year-olds.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know why Joss Whedon would have done that. So I think that the studio did it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
They're like, we need to like get people excited for this Avengers thing because
it's so far away.
Because at the end of Thor, it's like Thor will return the Avengers, which I also was like, that's weird. Why'd they do that? Yeah. Very solid film. What happened to Red Skull? Did he go to Asgard? What happened to him? It looked like Asgard, right? Am I crazy?
He's clearly not gone. I don't know.
He's not gone. He's like teleported to like fabulous Spaceland.
Not only is he not gone, I think that based on a comment that someone left for us, and I think what the internet is saying, Bucky is not dead either. Steve's best friend.
Yeah.
He
falls off the train.
Well, the biggest indicator that he's not dead is he.
By the way, there are spoilers, kids.
I hope that they know that by now. But Bucky, the guy who plays him, is signed for like 5 movies.
Holy crap! Really? In this universe?
Yes.
They're doing 5 more movies. Are they getting 5 Captain America or Avengers movies?
I guess that they just wanted that many in his contract in case of they have crazy plans.
Did they all get like frozen in Antarctica? What happened?
I don't know.
How are they going to get them into the future? That's crazy.
I think it actually has to do with his shield.
You're kidding, right?
Nope. You're just gonna have to overcome it, Carter. It's a world of comics. It's like Harry Potter. There are just some things that you're accepting that the power came from Odin, but
but like Odin is an alien and they have all this high technology to make that. Like they gave me an explanation, right? They could say like they could have done like Howard Stark and Stanley Tucci, who I don't know his name. They could have been like, yes, the Vita rays will like enhance his mental capabilities and stuff. Or they could have said like, yes, we're making it so that he can use his body. And then I'd be like, okay, fine, whatever. You at least told me. At least you acknowledged that there is something going on here. I just feel like they didn't think about it. Like they were just like, no, he'd just be super strong and he'd be like Superman now. And it'd be like, no, he wouldn't be like Superman. He'd be like a child. He'd be like a toddler and he'd fall down.
I want to see that scene where he stumbles out of the thing, just boom.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like if they did it Matrix style, it would have been like this big reveal and he'd be all big and buff and they'd be like, how do you feel? He's like, I don't know.
And then he'd throw up.
Boom. And then Stanley Tucci would be like, you will have to get accustomed to your new body, and
we never free a mind once it reaches a certain age.
Right, exactly. Like, and then they would have like, they could have done comic relief with it, but they didn't want to do that because they'd set it up differently. It's like, no, we've got the Hydra agent, and by the way, that's such a great name for
Hydra.
Yeah, and it's like, if you chop off one of our heads, 2 more will come up. I'm like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, and they adopt the Heil Hitler salute with the double fist. Nice.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really cool. Really, really, really cool. Berlin is on this map.
The first appearance of Hydra is 1954.
All this stuff is from like the turn of the century. It's like all this stuff was set up so long ago.
It's become our mythology.
It really, really has. And this is like a modern retelling of it. This is like watching Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? You know, almost. Right. Well, a little bit. They're much more true to the source material. But whoever had the idea, like, there's this well of plots that have been worked on for a long time, and maybe they weren't great, but they've been worked on so long that now they are, that we can go to and like make them into movies, and it's basically an infinite supply. And we have this rabid fan base that's small but energized, and we think that this will appeal to a broad audience because it's really fun. Like, whoever had that thought is
they're sitting on top of a pile of money right now.
Yeah, or like whatever, like congratulations to you, sir or madam, you won movies. You won the game of movies. Because comic book movies are both generally really good, and there are tons of them.
They've only gotten better. It's insane.
Right. The only comic book movies that were not in this like new era of comic book movies that I can think of are Superman and Batman. And those are different. Those are really different from what I think of as superhero movies now. You know,
definitely.
Old 1980s versions of those.
Even the early 90s Tim Burton films are very different from what were like the Christopher Nolan or any of the Marvel universe.
Right, yeah. And I would say that there is also what Christopher Nolan's doing with Batman is also kind of like a different thing from what the other superhero movies are doing. He's really like, you know,
that those movies you do not need to make room in your believability scale for, because there's nothing that unbelievable about them. They're just, he's a crazy rich and high-tech genius, and there are crazy evil people in his world. That's it.
Right. I mean, there's no, and that's sort of the thing about Batman. Generally, you know, people, because they're DC heroes, Ricari, I know. You know, everyone's like, who would win in a fight between Superman and Batman? And it's always like, well, Superman is super strong, and he would obviously win because he can, like, destroy, you know, suns and stuff. But, like, it's always like, Batman is smart and Superman is strong. You know, Batman is clever and, you know, methodical, and he just happens to be rich so he can accomplish those things. But he's, like, a deep thinker. He's brilliant. Superman is not brilliant at all. He is kind of dumb, but he's very strong.
Did you just say Superman is kind of dumb?
Yes.
Okay, good.
No, Superman's amazing.
Flame engage.
Flame on. Flame on, Chris Evans. He's, I mean, at least in the movies, right? He's kind of dumb. He's like a little sap. He's got a good heart, but he's not like he's not breaking the bank on brilliance, right?
I don't want to touch this. I don't know.
Well, then someone please, like, I'm saying I don't know, okay? Someone please, I'm just from the movies that I've seen. I haven't read the comic books. If you're going to throw the comic books at me, then fine. It's like, no, he's got super intelligence.
Here's an issue where it shows that Superman has an IQ of 300.
3 trillion, like the yellow, you know, light of the sun, like, enhances his intelligence.
He got a 2400 on his SATs.
Or maybe I'm forgetting something from the movies. You know, it's like where he like did a whole bunch of calculus.
He figures out he can spin the world backwards to reverse time for some reason, but then he forgets that he can always do that, and he never does it again. So he can't be that smart.
Wasn't he? And my recollection of that movie was that he was just sad, and he just did that. I don't think he knew, right? He wasn't like, I'm gonna go back in time. He was just like, I'm so sad that Lois Lane is dead because this rock mountain fell on her, or whatever. Like, she got drowned. I forget what happened, but you know, it's like, and then he was like, I'm gonna fly really fast. And what I'm saying isn't that people can have a high intelligence quotient, or people can have a lot of intelligence and still be kind of dumb. You know, like, they can be able to calculate things, but, like, make bad decisions.
But have no common sense.
And have no common sense. Yeah, I think he's just kind of sappy, is what I'm saying. Like, he comes off as dopey. Whereas Batman comes off as, like, cunning and, you know, it's like, you know, smart.
A Dark Knight.
A Dark Knight.
So what's our next movie project?
Oh, we haven't talked about that, have we?
No.
Do you want to
Should we take this conversation offline?
We're gonna take this conversation offline, and we'll let you know.
Okay.
We'll tweet it, and whatever. We'll let you know what we're
I'll
gonna
make
do.
a vlog.
He'll vlog, and I will like that vlog, as should all of you. And comment on it, and favorite it, and whatever. Do all the things. Do all of the things.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, I like all of your videos. Like both, I like them and I enjoy them.
Are you trying to butter me up for something?
No.